Alrighty, we have a sub panel here, and we're going to put our first circuit into it. We have our two hot wires coming in, our neutral and our ground, which is you have to keep them separate in a sub panel. Here in the country I was born in, we use 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps, 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps. Black is live, white is neutral, the bare or the green is the ground. Red and blue are also live colors. However, you may find white live in a 110, 120 volt switch loop, or in a 220, 240 volt circuit where the appliance does not require a neutral. So we're going to stick an outlet over here, or right down, I'll put it right up on here for our new business that's coming in here. So this has an anti-short bushing built into it. You put your MC cable into it, like push it in. You can see the little red bushing inside there, so we'll snap this into the bottom of our box. We'll put it over here. For our first circuit, we'll put it towards the back. You just push it in until you hear it snap. And you'll see this little barb pop over on the inside here and over here. So here in the country I was born in, we're required to use MC cable or conduit or wire mold on all commercial wiring. And I'll show you how to cut this with your MC cable cutter. So I'm going to need enough to come up to here, come across. So I'm going to cut it about right here. So you put your cable in like that. You want to make sure that this is back like that. Close it, and you tighten this . Oh, it goes up the other way. Goes up like this. You just tighten it up. And you just turn it. Ooh. Tighten it up in there. And you just turn it until it turns freely. You have to tighten it a little bit more. You'll feel it. Yeah, I just felt it stop. It started turning freely. Okay, so where's our cut? It's right here. So we'll just pop it back. We'll pop it like that and get it to come off like that. And we'll just pull our conductors out like this. And it made a very nice clean cut. So we're going to stick our wires up into this connector here. Okay, we're going to take this plastic off here. Yeah, we do have a little extra here that we can cut off here. we'll just take this little sharp piece off here so it's not pushing against our wires there. So we'll slide our wires up. And lower wires up. And we'll just push it, you hear it snap in. So now what we'll do is we'll take our wires, we'll get them untwisted here. Okay, so since this is a sub panel here, we're going to put our white, which is the neutral, over here on our neutral bar. So we'll put our wire along the bottom here, and we'll make our bend here, and we'll come up and we'll go into our bottom terminal, which is right here. We'll cut, we'll strip with our number 12 hole. Make sure our insulation does not get pinched. So let's push our wire back along our corner here. Now we'll take our ground wire, we have to put it over here on this ground bar, so we'll go back to our corner here, bring it along here like this, and we'll bend it over so we go straight into our neutral bar, which is right here, or our ground bar this is. Always strip it with the size that matches the wire we're using. Make sure we don't get our insulation caught under the terminal there. There it is. So we'll take our 20 amp circuit breaker here. It doesn't matter where you put it in the box. We'll just go up to the top here to make things easier. So then we will take our black wire, we'll push it down into our corner here, come up along the side here and bend it over, and we'll go into our breaker. So we will cut this here, strip a little bit to go under our terminal here. Now some circuit breakers use the number 2 Robertson screw, so we can use our Robertson screwdriver and we will put our wire in to our breaker like that, and we will put it in here, and we'll just make sure our insulation's not pinched under our terminal there. So there we go. So now we'll put our outlet up over here. So we'll take our MC cable cutter here again. We're going to strip it nice and long here. Nice and long here like this. tighten it up. Like that here. And we'll start turning until it turns freely. And let's see, it just turns freely like that. You just loosen this up. Where's our cut? It's right here. So we can just bend it over here a little bit, pull it out. Now we have a little bit of a sharp edge in here again. So we'll take our side cutters here and we'll just cut this little bit of edge off like that. Okay, so we'll mount our box up here like this. I'll make a little hole so our ground screw can go in easily. Okay, so this is a BXMC cable connector here. So this is our MC cable connector here. So let's put it in our box like this. And I'll just turn it to make sure it's nice and tight. So with your MC cable, you have to use your bushing here. And they're red and they come in a package like this. So you take your MC cable and you put your bushing in like this, like that. You just push it down into your cable like this. Make sure it's down all the way. Bring it into your connector here. Get it up inside and you see the little red tab there. So you'll see a ground threaded hole here for your green screw, so you have to bond your ground wire to your box. So you just put it in here like that. Let's go off hard. You know what? It comes off hard sometimes. There it goes. We'll hook our green round wire to our box. We'll bond our box here. So we'll strip it about right here. We'll go from here up to about here. And we'll just take our knife here and we'll skin our ground wire back here. So we'll see how we did. We're going to put it around our ground screw here. Okay, let's take a little more off here. Oh, I did skin it more and I just pull it off there. See, I went back further. I didn't go down far enough with my knife. So let's go back to our score here. We scored it. We'll pull it off. There we go. Now we'll bring our ground wire up around our green screw here. We'll go around and we'll just close our loop the direction our screw turns here. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, so we'll get ready to hook our outlets up here. Here in the country I was born in, our outlets are polarized. Your black wire goes on your brass screw, which is the narrow slot. Your white wire goes on the silver screw, which is the wider slot, and the bare, the green, goes on this green screw, which is the ground. So we'll get our wires all stripped here. Strip with our number 12 holes. There's our white, and we'll strip our end, we'll hook up on the second one here. Take off about an inch. You always use the hole that matches the wire size. You can see the wire stripping holes. So we'll strip our black. Where our score is there. Yeah, it just comes off. We'll strip our other end here, take off about an inch. And we'll do the same with our ground wire here. We'll strip here with our inch. Alrighty, so we're going to take our screws out because we're not going to use all these screws here. But we'll save them, we're not throwing them away. We'll break our plaster ears off because we're putting them on a... And we'll save those, we'll use those for washers if we have to recess an outlet on a residential job. The box is recessed a little bit so we can shim it out so the outlet fits tight against the wall. And when you put the cover on, it's flush and it's tight. So we'll just close the screws we're not going to be using because you don't want them floating around where they could touch something you don't want to touch. Okay, so we'll put our white on the silver screw. So we're going to make our loop like this. Get our insulation to be even on both. Get it even here and here. Put it around our silver screw like this. Close our loop up. Okay, we'll tighten it down nice and tight. Put our green wire over here, we'll put it around our round screw. Get our insulation to be even here and here so you get a nice even loop and it's neat and even. That there. Push back a little bit, make sure it goes under the screw head all the way around. Make sure it's nice and tight like that. Now we'll flip it around this way. Get our green wire so we can go over to our other outlet over here. Get our white wire over here so we can go to our other outlet. And we'll get our black wire onto our brass screw here. Nice and straight there. Push back a little bit here with my other finger. Make sure we get all our copper under the screw head. You don't want your insulation to go back behind this plastic, but I'll show you a trick. If it is a little bit back a bit, you can take your pliers and just slide it back like that. Okay, so we have our first outlet hooked up. So we'll get our ground wire down here for the last one here. Again, we'll break our little ears off here. So we'll close the screws we're not going to be using. just so that they're not out where they can touch something. Make our loop the direction. You always put your wire around the screw, the direction your screw turns. Make sure it's screwed in tight and the insulation is not pinched under the screw head. Make our loop the direction our screw turns. See how I got it up a little bit too far? So what I do is I bring it back a little bit and loop it like that. Make sure it's tight. Okay, we'll make our loop the direction our screw turns here. Make sure it's good and tight. We have a nice connection like that. Okay, so we'll take our cover. We'll get our outlets onto it. It goes on like this. The screws are 632s. Make sure they're nice and snug. And now we'll put our outlets into our box. So we're going to make sure these screws don't hit our wires. So we're going to fold them back in here. In a way that they don't get pinched on anything. Okay, so we want to make sure our wires aren't going to pinch on anything here. And they'll go in nicely here. are 832s. We're just going to look, make sure these screws aren't going to hit any of the wires, and they're not. Unfortunately, these screws are a little short, so we're thankful for that. So we found some screws. And we'll just finish it by hand to make sure they're snug. Alrighty, so we'll just finish it off by putting on our wire mold strap or MC cable clamp here. Alrighty, so that is how to wire a outlet next to your main breaker box or for a business here in the country I was born in. We use a 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps, 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps. Black is live, white is neutral, the bare or the green is the ground. Red and blue are also live colors. However, you may find white live in a 110, 120 volt switch loop or in a 220, 240 volt circuit where the appliance does not require a neutral. Peace. Thanks for watching.